You told me to be here. It's good to see you. You're like, all that life. With technology, especially. Like almost anything's possible. That works fine. Last time, one of the wicks. It wouldn't light. It like lit and it burned down too low and then it wouldn't. So hopefully it was a weird fluke.
That's what
it was last time, and then I was just like, one of them was lit.
I'm the worst.
Yeah, I know you ate that thing.
The matches are really weird.
How are your kids? Does they enjoy the vacation? Well, we're not driving down to Galveston, so.
Enjoy what you did. No, that's where we were. So
Oh, you were in Galveston?
No, you weren't.
I've never been there. I've been to Galveston.
No, I've never been to Galveston, but
That's where my grandfather from Poland.
oh, in Galveston, yeah. We have people from Chattanooga. That's where they trace
I know,
themselves
but
to.
my grandfather went to Chicago. It's like, why?
Yeah.
Do you want me to start it? Sure. Is it time yet?
Yes.
Oh, it is. Grab this part. It's that time. Come up and be your pulpit buddy. That's fine. We'll wait half a second.
Yes.
Great. Yeah, you can be like right there. We'll start in a second. They're checking something. This is like.
You get to sit in
Yeah,
right
you can
here.
right there.
Warm.
All good.
Excuse me? If you want to. Probably good, because then the microphone will be the right height. Yeah.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So glad to have you all here with us tonight. We're going to get started with our Shabbat Nigun. It's a song with no words except Shabbat Shalom, and there's no page number, so join in with us.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la la, ya la 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 ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la.
Shabbat Shalom. We turn to page 5, and on page 5, half the way down on the page is our prayer Shalom Aleichem, a prayer welcoming in all the ministering angels for Shabbat. Page 5.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Turn back to page 4, and we ask that you please rise. And on page 4, on the left side of the page, we have our candle lighting blessing. We have our candles here that we've lit, and we'll recite the blessing. And if you're at home and you have candles, you're welcome to light them at this time. Page 4.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner, Shabbat.
You may be seated. We turn now to page 11, and on page 11 we have the psalm Lechune Ranena.
Lechuniranena, 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 ladonai. Lechuniranena, 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 ladonai. Naria, naria, letsuri shenu nikadma fana bitoda. Naria, naria, letsuri shenu bispiro naria lo. Lechuniranena, 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 ladonai. Lechuniranena, 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 ladonai. Lechuniranena, 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 ladonai. Lechuniranena, 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 ladonai.
We turn now to page 16, and on page 16 we have 4 lines up from the bottom of the page, or Zarua, the end of Psalm 97, that the righteous shine in this world. Page 16.
Or Zarua, la tzadik, hu yisraelev simcha. Or Zarua, la tzadik, hu yisraelev simcha. Or Zarua, la tzadik, hu yisraelev simcha. Hu yisraelev simcha. Or Zarua, la tzadik, hu yisraelev simcha. Hu yisraelev simcha. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la. Or Zarua, la tzadik, hu yisraelev simcha. Or Zarua, la tzadik, hu yisraelev simcha.
Please turn to page 20, and on page 20, 3 lines up from the bottom of the page, we have the end of Psalm 99, Romemu, sing out to God in praise. Page 20.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lahakodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lahakodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lahakodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lahakodsho.
Please rise as we turn to page 21 for Psalm 29, a psalm all about the great power that God possesses in our universe. Page 21.
Mizmor LeDavid, Havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, Havu l'Adonai, Kavod v'Oz, ay, 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 Havu l'Adonai, Kavod Shemo, Ishtachavu l'Adonai, Shabbat Kodesh, Kol Adonai Al Hamayim El HaKavod Iri Adonai Al Mayim Rabim Kol Adonai Ba'koach ay Kol Adonai Be'adam Kol Adonai Shover Arazim V'shaber Adonai Et Azei HaBanot V'yakidem K'mo Egel Levanon Misiryon Kimo ven Remi Mayai Kol Adonai Hotzela HaFodesh Kol Adonai Yachil Midbar Yachil Adonai Midbar HaKadosh Kol Adonai Cholel Ayalon Kayechesof Ye'aron Uv'hechalo Kulo Omer Kavod Adonai Lama Yashav Yeshiv Adonai Lalech Le'olam Adonai Oz Le'amoyitin Adonai Yivarech and Amo V'Shalom Hi Dai 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 Hi Dai 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 Hi Dai 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 Hi Dai Dai.
You may be seated. We turn now to page 23, and on pages 23, 24, and 25, we have our prayer Lecha Dodi, welcoming in the Shabbat bride for this Kabbalat Shabbat evening. Today we're going to be doing the first two verses on page 23, and then the middle verse on page 24, and then finally you guys will all rise and you'll turn and face the door, and we'll do the very last verse on page 25. So we'll be starting together on page 23.
Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala P'nei Shabbat Nikabela Shamhor v'zachor B'dibur echad Ishmianu El HaMeyuchad Adonai Echad U'Shemo Echad L'Shemu Tiferet Behelitila Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala P'nei Shabbat Nikabela Likrat Shabbat Lechu v'nercha Ki mekor Haberaka Merosh Mikedem Nesucha Sof Ma'aseh B'machshavat Tila Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala P'nei Shabbat Nikabela Hitoreri Kiva Orech Umi ori, uri, uri, shir daberi kivod Adonai, alayich nikma lecha dodi, likwat kala, pinei Shabbat, nikabela. Boi vishalom, ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha, uvitzola, toch emune, am segula, boi chala, lecha dodi, likrat kala, pinei Shabbat, nikabela.
You may be seated. We turn now to page 27, and on page 27 we have the first half of our special psalm for the day of Shabbat. Page 27.
Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot lahadonai, ulizamer l'shimcha elyon, ulizamer l'shimcha elyon. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot lahadonai, ulizamer l'shimcha elyon, ulizamer l'shimcha elyon. Lahagid baboker chastecha, va'emunatcha balelot, alei asra ve'alei navel, alei higayon vechinor. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot lahadonai, ulizamer l'shimcha elyon, ulizamer l'shimcha elyon. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot lahadonai, ulizamer l'shimcha elyon, ulizamer l'shimcha elyon. Ki simaktani Adonai b'fawalecha, b'maaseh yadacha aranein. Ma gadol ma'asecha Adonai, me'od amku makshivotecha. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot lahadonai, ulizamer l'shimcha elyon, ulizamer l'shimcha elyon, ulizamer l'shimcha elyon, ulizamer l'shimcha elyon.
Turn to page 28, as we'll have the ending part of Psalm 92, the special psalm for Shabbat. It's Tzadik Katamar Yifrach, that the righteous will spring up in the world like date palms. Page 28.
Tzadikatamar yivrach ke'erez bavanon yizke shetulim b'veit Adonai Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu O Jenuvun Beseva Deshenim Vera'ananim Yiyu Lahagid Ki Ashar Adonai Tzuri Velo Avlata.
Page 29.
Erotecha ne'munu me'od lehevercha na'ava kodesh Adonai la'orech yami.
On page 30, we have the first of our two mourners' Kaddishes. If you're observing Yortzeit or in mourning, or if it is your custom, feel free to rise. Again, Kaddish Yatom, mourners' Kaddish is found on page 30. Yitkada ve'yitkadash shemei Rabba ve'alma divra kirute ve'amlich malchute ve'chayechon uvyomechon uvechaye dechol Beit Yisrael v'agala uvizman kariv v'imeru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach le'alam u'lomei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh Vitadar, Vitale, Vitalal, Shmed Kudesha, Barikhu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechmata, da'amiran be'alma v'imeru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imeru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imeru amen. You may be seated. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
I want to talk about something that's a little puzzling in the tradition and actually in this week's Torah portion, but really in a few weeks' Torah portion. This week's Torah portion is Parshat Korach, which we might or might not know, and I don't want to give it away. But in Parshat Korach, there's a man named Korach who gets into a fight. Him and his associates get into a fight with Moses and Aaron and really God. And ultimately, it goes poorly for Korach and his associates, and the earth swallows them up. Which is interesting, because a few parshiot later, a few sections later, a few weeks later, we learn there's this list of different people, and one of the lists has B'nai Korach, the children of Korach, and it says B'nai Korach didn't die, which is very puzzling, because you would assume they probably associated with their families, and Korach was a bad guy, and so wouldn't they have gone? 250 people were swallowed in the earth. Wouldn't it have been his children? But no, we learned that is not the case, and that they didn't die. And we say to ourselves, well, that's puzzling, because at some point everybody dies. And B'nai Korach, though, they say they didn't die, and the tradition doesn't know what to do with this. And so they have a few different options. And one of the first options they go with, which is interesting, the Targum Yonatan. Right? There's a translation in the Aramaic, and it says, what does it mean? Well, they didn't follow their father's bad choices, so they didn't die in the plague or when the earth swallowed people or when the fire went, because they didn't make the bad decisions. So they lived longer lives, and they passed away in their own time. And that makes sense logically. Right? We can all understand what that means. They didn't die because of what their father did. They passed away later. Then there's a second option that comes up, which is interesting, kind of a trip. They say, no, B'nai Korach didn't ever pass away, actually. After their time for living on this earth ended, God said, I have a job for you. I'm going to put you in the middle of the earth. So God did. God took Bnei Korach, all the children of Korach, and stuck them in the middle of the earth and said, just wait, it's coming. And then one day there was a guy named Jonah who got swallowed by a big fish. We know Jonah. He got swallowed by a big fish, and the fish was going around. This is what Pirkei Rebbe Eliezer, the Midrash, says. The fish was going around and showing Jonah all the different things in the world and why Jonah should believe that God exists, because the world is so beautiful and majestic. And Jonah was saying, no, I'm okay. I'm not ready to say sorry to God yet. I don't want to listen to God. Jonah ran away from God. Until finally they brought Jonah into the middle of the earth, and who was there? Bnei Korach. The children of Korach were there sitting there and studying and writing beautiful songs and praying. And Jonah said, what am I doing here? And the children of Korach said, we're here to show you where the temple is. The temple's above you up here, and this is the perfect place to do tshuva and to repent, in case you might have made a mistake at some point. And so Jonah did. Jonah finally said, fine, and he had the fish stop in that spot, and he prayed and ultimately went on his way. Everything worked out. Say, who better than Bnei Korach to be the ones to advocate for being able to change your life when it feels like you're stuck somewhere, right? And so that's the second interpretation of why Bnei Korach, why they lived, they never really passed away, because they never passed away. God just took them and stuck them in the middle of the earth, and that's where they are. And they continue the story in Sanhedrin and say, yeah, Bnei Korach sit in the middle of the earth, and they say the Torah is true and Moses is true, and our father made a big mistake. And they say this over and over and over, which is interesting and also a nice way of looking at it. But I prefer the third way that's alluded to in our tradition, which is not that Bnei Korach didn't die because of their father's sin, and it's not that Bnei Korach never passed away. It's that the memory and the good deeds of Bnei Korach never passed away, right? So in a sense, they never passed away because their goodness still fills the earth. Did you know that the children of Korach, right? Korach, ooh, bad guy, right? His children wrote more Psalms than anybody but David. If you look through the Psalms, you have like 15 Psalms by the children of Korach. How could that have happened? Their father was so wicked. How could it be that their Psalms would continue to go around the earth for generations and generations? And the answer, I think, comes in another section of the Talmud, in Brachot, where the rabbis are saying, how could it be if you have a wicked parent or a parent who makes bad decisions or made a bad decision and it ended up affecting them? Our tradition says what? God will punish the children for the sins of the parents in Exodus. But then in Deuteronomy, there's this weird thing where it says God does not punish children for the sins of the parents. And you say, I don't understand. Is the Torah not true? Is Bnei Korach wrong? Here it says that God's going to punish the children for the sins of the parents. And here it says God doesn't punish the children for the sins of the parents. And the Talmud, of course, being wonderful, says, well, of course it's obvious. When you do the bad deeds that your parents did, then you're punished. When you don't do the bad deeds that your parents might have done, then you're not punished. So basically, what does it mean? If you're a good person, then you're not going to be punished for the sins of your parents. It's just when you also don't learn from their example that it's problematic. And that's where Bnei Korach become example makers for us, because they had a parent who was fairly problematic, created an uprising against the whole nation for the sake of destruction, which is bad. And they said, we're not going to join you in your rebellion. It's misguided. We love you, but we're not going to do it. And they didn't. And then they had the opportunity to join other rebellions, and they didn't. And instead, they multiplied their good deeds in the world. And so the third reason I feel like is most compelling of all. And it's the reason that they, instead of doing wickedness in the world, they saw what their ancestors had done, and they did a 180 or a 360. And they said, forget it. No, I think a 180. Yeah, a 360 is a circle. They did a 180, and they said, forget it. We don't want to continue to spread hatred or badness in the world. We want to be the ones who spread goodness. And I feel like all the themes kind of connect, because they didn't follow their father in that sense. And they were helpful, whether it was with Jonah inside of the earth or whether it was writing beautiful psalms. They were helpful in showing us that just because you might have had a bad situation growing up, or you might have been stuck in a certain way, or you might feel like you've messed up so many times, there's no way to turn it around. Bnei Korach are evidence that you can always turn it around. You can always take a bad situation and make something good out of it. And when you do that, not only do you make the world better, but you continue to have that memory live on in the world. And you never really pass away. Even though physically you might be gone from the earth, your goodness continues to suffuse the world forever and ever and ever. And so, I would say on this Shabbat, that while we can focus on Korach and say, what a wicked man he was, maybe, or what a misguided man he was, or, oh, it's such a shame when people fight and sages can't get along, I would say let's not focus on that character who gets the parsha named after him. Let's focus on his children who get barely a name in our tradition, and yet when they do get a name, it's only for good. Because in spite of their father's bad example, they turned the situation around and did a 180. They spread goodness in the world, and so we remember them all the time, and they never really passed away. And it's the same for us, right? Let's be like B'nai Korach. Let's go out into the world and say, you know what? The situation not be where I want it to be. I'm going to stay positive. I'm going to try to add love and goodness to the world, and in doing so, ensure that love and goodness never disappear from this earth, and that we are remembered forever, and our lives are remembered for blessing. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. I'm going to call up my colleague, Rabbi Cohen, to continue with our Ma'ariv service, which you'll find on page 39 in just a moment.
Just a little bit shorter than Rabbi Richards, just a little bit. We turn to page 39a, and we rise as we begin the evening service together. We say Yasher Koach to Rabbi Richards for a beautiful Devar Torah, as always, with great insights for us to carry out of the synagogue this evening. And we welcome Natalie Archer, who is our bat mitzvah this weekend. She's finishing our series of B'nai Mitzvah, right, for this season. And we're so happy she's here to guide us along with Arlene through the service this evening. So, Yesher Koach, and we're excited to have you here. Page 39a, you'll find Baruch Hu.
Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruchu et Adonai Hamavorach. Baruch Adonai Hamavorach. Hamavorach le'olam va'ed. Hamavorach, Hamavorach le'olam va'ed.
You may be seated.
Uma'avir yom u'mevi laila. Umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, Tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch ata Adonai, Hama'ariv aravi.
Amen. You'll find Ahavat Olam prior to the Shema, page 40, as Arlene leads us.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha hafta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu B'shachbeinu u'v'kumenu Nasiach b'chukecha ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגי ימם ולילה. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגי ימם ולילה. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגי ימם ולילה. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגי ימם ולילה. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל.
The Shema in 41 as Natalie leads us.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
ואהבת
את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
We read the English together on the middle of page 41. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all that is yours. These words that I command you this day shall be taken to heart. Teach them again and again to your children. Speak of them when you sit in your home, when you walk on your way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand and as a symbol above your eyes. Inscribe them upon the doorposts of your homes and upon your gates. We turn over to page 44, right towards the middle of the paragraph. You will find the words Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai in the bold, these words coming from our text, reminding us of our freedom from Egypt, from celebrating our celebration of life and freedom. Page 44, we join together.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא 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 תהילות עושה פלא. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא 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 תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה. זה אלי, זה אלי, ענו ואמרו. מלכותך ראו בניך, Bokeh ayam livnei Moshe. Ze Eli, anu ve'ameru. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, no ra tehilot, oh seifele. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, no ra tehilot, oh seifele. Adonai yimloch la'olam va'ed. Adonai yimloch la'olam va'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, no ra tehilot, oh seifele, oh seifele, oh seifele. Ne'emar ki fadad Adonai et Yaakov ugalo miyachazak mimenu, Baruch ata Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
Amen. Page 45, you'll find our second bracha after the Shema, our Hashkivenu prayer. It's our prayer that asks for peace, and we recognize in its imagery as we talk about a sukkah of peace, a sukkah of peace, a canopy of peace, that peace is fragile. It's something we have to work towards and work for. We join together in the English on page 45. Allow us, Adonai our God, to sleep peacefully. Awaken us to life, O Sovereign. Spread over us your canopy of peace. Restore us with your good counsel, and save us for the sake of your name. Shield us. Remove from us enemies, pestilence, sword, starvation, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings. For you, God, watch over and deliver us. And you, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace, now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us, over all the people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Amen. We join together in the Hebrew, page 45.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamitenu malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamitenu malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamitenu malkeinu l'chaim. Ushmot Seitenu Ufoenu L'chaim Shalom Me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamitenu Hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim.
Page 46, we rise for the singing of Vishamru as we remind ourselves again of our connection to God through the observance of Shabbat as a sign for our covenant and as a vehicle to peace. 46 at the top.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. Veini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. Uvayom hashmi Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam.
Chatzi Kaddish, the middle of 46.
Yitkadav yitkadash shemei Rabbah V'yama divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon uv'yomechon Uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael Bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv, ve'imaru, amen. Yeheshmei Rabba mevarach, le'alamol me'amaya, yitbarach, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yihidnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudisha b'richu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'yalma V'yimaru, amen.
You'll find the silent Amidah for this evening, beginning pages 47 through 52. As always, feel free to add to your own personal thoughts to the words on the page, and when you're finished, you are welcome to be seated.
Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. 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 Ki atahu melech adon lachol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lachol hashalom. Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. V'tov be'enecha livarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה משלמך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם.
You'll turn forward in your Siddur to 173. There you'll find on the far left side our Misha Berach for healing. We always add in the evening here a special singing of our Misha Berach, Debbie Friedman, reminding us that we all are in need of healing. All of us could use some sense of emotional or spiritual healing, and certainly we send our prayers for healing for those who physically are in need as well. So 173.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha La'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Refuah Shlema. We turn back to page 54. There you will find Kaddish Shalem.
Yitkadav yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'yomad divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh v'chayachonu v'yomechonu v'chayedecho beit Yisrael v'galahu v'zman kariv v'himaru.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach Le'alam ohal me'amaya וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי דקודשא, ברכו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן ויאמה וימרו. תתקבל צולות ההון ובוטהון דכל ישראל, קדם ובהון וישמעיה וימרו. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמעיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל וימרו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל וימרו.
We turn forward to page 55 and we ask if you're able to rise as we join together in Kiddush for Shabbat. We take a cup of juice in this case, a little cup of wine or juice, something sweet that reminds us of the sweetness of Shabbat. We join together as Arlene and Natalie lead us in Kiddush. 55.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzo hinchilanu zikon lema'aseh bereshit ki hu yom tehila למקרא קודש, זכר לציון מצרים. קיוונו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן. לחיים.
We remain standing as we turn to 56. We can do the concluding prayers of our evening service with Aleinu, page 56.
Aleinu lishabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoye haratzot, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל ההמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגבי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום בהשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת. אין עוד, אין עוד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו
You are welcome to be seated. On page 58, you'll find Mourner's Kaddish. And as we recite Mourner's Kaddish this evening, we certainly continue to give our hugs of support to those who are continuing through the mourning period. We extend our hugs of support certainly to Karen Young and the entire extended Young Rosengard Demeshki families on the death of Lindsay. We keep in our thoughts Dorothy Rebecca Liu, mother of David Greenberg, Arthur Hartstein, father of Bonnie Hartstein, and Jerry Friedman, husband of Jerry Bensky Friedman. We also mention the names of those whose yortzites occur today and in the week that will be coming: Rose Abeloff, Simon Alexander, Chuck Bauman, Adele Karsman, Leon Feingold, Jake Gosson, Sidney Himmelstein, Gil Holland, Robert Karch, Louis Linver, Consuelo Mostkoff, Mickey Penner, Florence Reisman, Joseph Saka, Herman Schilling, Bernard Spitz, Esther Stelzer, and Ray Weiss. If the names that I did not recite, of people that you are thinking about this evening, feel free to recite their names at this moment or within your heart at this time. Page 58, you'll find Kadisha Tom, the Mourner's Kaddish. Again, those reciting, if you'll rise and join with me. Yit Gadal, V'yit Kadash, Shemei Rabbah, V'alma, Divrach, Yirutei, V'yamlich Malchutei, V'chayechon, Uvyomechon, Uvchaye, Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, Uvizman Kariv, V'imru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevarach, Leolam, Olamei, Olmaya. Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitromam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shemei Dekudisha, B'richu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru,
Amen.
Amen. You are welcome to be seated. We have a couple of announcements before we go into our concluding songs this evening. We have our morning minyan, as always, continues Sundays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Our live streamed and Zoom is available. Mondays and Thursdays, we remain on Zoom and live stream only. Those other days of the week, we are here in-house, so you can come and help make a minyan. We will work over the summer towards transitioning back to a regular minyan with all the trimmings that go with it. But right now we are still transitioning and including, again, keeping our masks on and trying to be distanced as we can through the next number of weeks as we move forward. So keep that in mind. Weekdays again at 7:30 and Sunday morning at 9 a.m. and here in the sanctuary when it is in person. We have a couple of other announcements. One in particular is our Partnership Together program, Women's Rosh Chodesh Gathering. This is a community-wide, actually, program. You can connect with Jewish women from San Antonio, from Budapest, and from Israel. This Sunday, June 13th at 10 a.m., Ahavat Chinam. It's with a learning session. You can check the weekly email that you probably got for the registration link or the email. You can email the RSVP line, and we will get you the information you might need. Again, this is for Sunday, and I know Jessica is always checking that RSVP line, so if you need the information, go ahead after Shabbat. You can do that, and most likely she will get back to you with the link that you might need to participate. So don't forget about that. And finally, I think most of you are aware that we are having Rabbi Ben's farewell barbecue this Sunday. His office is looking very bare, I hate to say, as he packs up his books and his things. And so the barbecue, of course, is this Sunday at 6 p.m. And I think you can probably still squeak in for a ticket and certainly can make a donation in his honor. And we do need some volunteers to help out, just because we expect a very large crowd. We'll continue with social distancing as we do it, but we are certainly going to send Rabbi Ben off with a fond farewell, with good memories. He's giving thumbs up for those of you not seeing him in your view, and we will miss him greatly. I know I will miss him greatly. And those of you who've had the benefit of being with him for the past 3 years, I know that he has been such an addition to this congregation, to this community, and we want to wish him well. And so with that, we have a special song that Arlene would like to sing. I'm not singing it. Arlene will sing it. As we, this evening, mark Rabbi Ben's last Friday night with us. I have a feeling we're going to somehow get him back here to visit as a scholar in residence, maybe, something fun like that. But we will see him again, I hope soon, as a visitor, but certainly he will remain here in our hearts as one of our rabbis. So we bid him a fond farewell.
And I'm sure he'll drop a few y'alls in
And
Southern
he'll definitely
California.
teach Los Angeles how to say the right words, like y'all.
May you be blessed as you go on your way. May you be guided in peace. May you be blessed with health and joy. May this be your blessing. Amen. 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 May this be your blessing. Amen. 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 May this be your blessing. Amen. May you be sheltered by the wings of peace. May you be kept in safety and in love. May grace and compassion find their way to every soul. May this be your blessing. Amen. 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 May this be your blessing. Amen. 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 May this be your blessing. Amen.
he's not done though, I hate to tell you. He does have tomorrow to be here, so we will continue learning and being with him tomorrow. So Shabbat, we will celebrate Shabbat with him tomorrow, his last Saturday morning Shabbat with us again. I have grand plans for scholars and residence programs and fun things, and there's always Zoom now, right? So there you go. But I hope you will join us tomorrow morning. We will be here back at 9:15 as we celebrate the bat mitzvah of Natalie Archer. We're very excited. This has been a long time in coming because we kind of shifted things, and here you are now in June, and we will celebrate with you. You'll be reading from the Torah and teaching us a little bit and doing a haftarah and davening. So please come back tomorrow morning, whether in person or virtually, to join us for this wonderful simcha. And we're so happy that you could be with us tonight. And thanks for helping out. She's a beautiful voice, by the way. We have such great kids with great, beautiful voices. So we're going to enjoy that again tomorrow as well. So keep that in mind. And we want to thank Arlene. Thank you, as always, for a beautiful Kabbalat Shabbat. And Marif, Anthony, and Michael, thank you as well. Yeah, we appreciate all of your efforts tonight, as always. With that, we're going to conclude on page 211, as again, we say a mazel tov to Natalie and her family, and we say a bruchim abayim to Rabbi Ben. Page 211, you'll find Adon Olam.
Adon Olam. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra La'et Nasa B'chefzako Azad Malach Shemo Nikra Adon Olam V'acharei Kichot HaKol Levado Yimlok Noah Adon Olam V'hu Haya Vehu Hove, Vehu Yeh B'tifara Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, La'et Nasa V'chefzako, Azad Malach Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Vehu Echad Ve'ein Sheni, Laham Shilo Lahakbira Adon Olam Beli Reshit Beli Tachlit Velo Haos V'Ham Yisra Adon Olam Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra La'et Nasa V'chefzako Azad Malach Shemo Nikra Adon Olam Vehu Eli V'chai Goali V'tzor Chevli Be'et Zara Adon Olam Vehu Nisi Umanosli Benat Kosi B'yom Mekra Adon Olam Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra La'et Nasa V'chefzako Azad Malach Shemo Nikra Adon Olam Be'yado Afkid Ruchi Ve'et Tishan Va'ira Adon Olam Ve'im Ruchi Geviati Adonai li v'lo ira Adon Olam Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra La'et Nasa V'chefzako Azad Malach Shemo Nikra Adon Olam.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Hey,
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Right. But I mean, so far, part of the stuff now is about 14 something miles, almost 15 miles. But, we're getting to 20 miles. You don't have like early in the morning? Go back to dinner.